Can't sleep, Mom?
Oh, my mind. It won't quiet down.
That night, the room was so quiet, I could hear the wall clock ticking second by second, as if time itself was sitting, waiting for something unspoken to arrive. A soft amber light spilled across the old wall, and there she was. My mother leaning slightly forward, hands folded tightly as if holding something about to overflow. Her eyes were wide open, not afraid, just unable to close. I whispered, "Mom can't sleep." She shook her head and murmured, "My mind won't rest." It wasn't because of illness, not shoulder pain or aching knees. It was a bill that hadn't arrived. A light bulb by the gate, still not replaced. A careless comment at dinner that stuck with her every time something bothered her, even a leaf falling out of place. It was as if sleep couldn't find its way home. She didn't complain. She didn't ask for medicine. She just sat in the dark, trying to hush the thoughts even she couldn't explain. Maybe after 70, when the body begins to slow down, it's the mind's turn to start wandering. And if that's true, is there a way to gently quiet the mind without medication? Could sleep come back through something simpler? Every mother carries an invisible pouch inside her heart. And inside that pouch are things we call small. An unpaid electricity bill, a flickering light bulb on the porch, a phone call from her child that never came today. For younger people, these worries pass like water. But for my mother, they don't pass, they stay. And when night falls, when the house is silent and others have gone to bed, those thoughts rise one by one. Quiet but persistent, like crickets chirping near her pillow. No one sees them, but the sound fills the space inside her head. She never called it stress. She simply said, "I'm just thinking a bit." It's normal not to sleep sometimes, but I started to notice a quiet, dangerous pattern. A small worry during the day, a quieter than usual evening. She lies down, eyes open. Breathing slightly quickens hand, gently rubs her chest. Then she wakes at 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And yet, in the morning, she still rises early, like always. But her steps are slower, her words shorter. She forgets what she walked across the room for. Her eyes seem veiled in a thin fog. I asked, "Are you in pain?" She shook her head. "No, I just don't feel well. Maybe it's age." But I knew it wasn't just aging. It was her mind growing tired. Every time she said just thinking a bit, another night of sleep was being quietly chipped away. Because a body can't rest when the mind hasn't been given permission to stop. As we age, the nervous system that once regulated our sleep begins to fade. The worries she used to leave for tomorrow now sit like pebbles in her palm, small but impossible to drop. She didn't need big problems to stay awake, just a sense that something wasn't resolved and another night would slip away. My mother's story might be yours too. And if you've ever turned on the light at night and told yourself, "I'm just thinking a little," then maybe, just maybe, your sleep too is being slowly, unraveled by things that seem invisible to everyone else. There's something I've learned from living with my mother. Elderly people don't always say what's on their mind, but their bodies will whisper it for them. One evening after dinner, she sat at the table longer than usual. Her eyes weren't sad, but they weren't at peace either. She stirred her spoon gently in her tea, not to mix anything, just to circle something that wouldn't dissolve. That night, she didn't sleep. At 1 a.m., I saw a soft line of light spilling from her room. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, head in her hands. No fever, no illness, just a mind that wouldn't settle. From that night on, I began to watch more closely. I kept a small notebook, jotting down the things that made her pause during the day. And sure enough, whenever something small, when unspoken that night, became restless. One time, it was a late letter from the post office. Another time, it was a porch light blinking too fast. No one else thought these were big deals. But to her, they were like dust caught in the eye, tiny but unforgettable. So one evening, I brewed chamomile tea and sat next to her. "Mom, is there something on your mind?" She didn't answer right away. She shook her head. Then after a long pause, she whispered, "It's nothing. I just haven't called Linda back. I don't want her to think I forgot her." I didn't smile. I didn't rush her. Instead, I slid a piece of blank paper and a pen across the table. "Maybe let's write it down, just for tomorrow." That night, she wrote 3 things. Call Linda, remind John to check the faucet, book eye appointment. Then she folded the note and placed it into a small wooden box I had prepared. I called it the box for tomorrow. We left it on the shelf beside her nightlight. Then we drank our tea. No advice, no fixing, just silence. The next evening, I made tea again. Placed the notebook and pen where she could reach them. She sat down, no invitation needed. Her handwriting was steadier, her posture more relaxed. After she finished writing, she said something I won't forget. "Once I've written it down, I don't have to carry it in my head anymore." We made it a nightly ritual, not a chore, not a lecture, just a pause before bed, a moment where her mind was allowed to set things down. In the second week, on a morning full of soft sunshine, she stepped out of her room, smoothing her hair. I asked, "How did you sleep?" She smiled. I slept straight through, didn't wake once. And the funny thing is, I didn't think about anything at all. No pills, no new mattress, no expert needed. Just one blank page and someone willing to listen to the things she didn't know how to say. From then on, sleep came more gently. Not like waves crashing, but like a soft blanket being laid across her thoughts, now smoothed out by just a few handwritten lines. And just like that, my mother, who once lay awake whenever her mind stirred, now knew how to fold her thoughts like paper and place them gently into her sleep. Long ago, before bedtime, people used to light an oil lamp, wash their hands with warm water, fold their clothes neatly, and whisper a small prayer for peace. Not because they had no worries, but because they understood. Before the body can rest, the mind must be soothed. With my mother, we call this gentle practice, "Put it down and leave it there." A simple phrase, but it became the key that helped her. And perhaps now you unlock the door back to restful sleep. The "put it down and leave it there" ritual has 3 steps. 1. Soften the body with warm water. When the body feels safe, the mind can begin to loosen its grip. Each evening, my mother began by washing her face with a warm cloth. Sometimes she'd soak her hands in a bowl of water with a few slices of fresh ginger. Not a spa, no essential oils, just warm water and a few minutes for herself. She once said it feels like the dust of the whole day has slipped away. That feeling, like brushing off an old layer, was the first invitation to stillness. 2. Invite sleep with a kind cup of tea. Once her body relaxed, I made her a small cup of caffeine-free tea, chamomile lemon balm, or even warm water with a pinch of mineral salt. She didn't drink fast. She sipped slowly, cupping the mug like she was holding something precious. I call it her compassionate water, not healing through chemicals, but through quiet presence. You can try this too. It doesn't need to be fancy. Just choose something that helps you. Breathe a little slower. 3. Write it down and set it aside. Before turning off the lights, my mother would sit at her little wooden desk and open a thin notebook. She'd write 3 things she was worried about today, or 1 small thing she felt grateful for. Then she folded the paper and placed it into a small wooden box I'd engraved with the words, "Think about it in the morning." No pressure to solve anything, no need to chase away the thoughts. Just a way to say, "I see you. I'll return to you tomorrow." Make your sleep space feel like a soft forest. My mother's room no longer echoed with the TV playing quietly all night. We replaced the cold ceiling light with a warm amber lamp, soft like firelight. I turned on gentle forest sounds, leaves rustling, steady crickets, or soft 528 hertz tones like a heartbeat humming in the distance. Her pillow was fluffed, her blanket smoothed. Nothing extravagant, just enough to feel held. Don't fight the worry, greet it, then invite it to rest. I used to think we had to fight stress to sleep well. But my mother taught me, worry is part of me. If I try to chase it away, it'll knock on the door all night. But if I greet it, write it down, and promise to return to it later, it'll quietly step away. And that's exactly what happened. Each night she wrote, then she folded, then she drank her tea, washed her hands, turned off the light, and slept. And like a quiet fairy at the end of the day, my mother learned to enchant her own sleep, not with a magic wand, but with a blank page, a warm cup, and a soft promise to her mind. That's enough for today. We'll think again tomorrow. There were nights when I truly believed my mother would never sleep soundly again. I was afraid that the tiny fragments of her daily worries, a broken porch light, an unreturned call, a towel folded the wrong way, would keep tumbling inside her mind, disrupting every minute of her fragile rest. But night after night, she began folding those worries away. Not by forgetting them, not by fighting them, but with a quiet ritual we created together. Write it down, set it aside, and let it be. One morning, I opened her bedroom door and found her sitting by the window. A cup of tea in one hand, the curtain pulled open with the other. Sunlight was touching her hair, silver strands glowing like gold in the ashes of dawn. Without turning, she said, "I don't need silence anymore, my dear. I just need to know that I'm allowed to rest." And I stood there quietly, because I understood sleep doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be free of thoughts that never had a place to land. Maybe you're like my mother. You don't call yourself sleepless. You simply say, "I'm just thinking." Just a little. But that little repeats itself night after night until morning doesn't feel refreshing anymore, and aging begins to feel heavier. From my heart, through my mother's story, I offer this invitation. If tonight you find yourself lying in bed, eyes wide, and thoughts like, "Do I need to call the doctor tomorrow? Did I say something wrong to my grandchild? Is the back door really locked?" Then try something small. Take a blank piece of paper, write down one thing or three, fold it, place it in a separate space, pour yourself a warm cup of tea, dim the lights, play a soft breeze, and say to yourself, "I'll think about this tomorrow morning." You don't have to fix everything before you sleep. You just have to allow your mind a night off, because sometimes peace doesn't come from having everything under control. It begins with one piece of paper and a pause. I have a small request for you. If you try this and find your sleep a little softer tonight, even just a little less restless, please return to this video and leave me a note. You don't need to explain much. Just say, "I tried it, and thank you." Or, "I used to be like your mother." I will read it, and I believe others will too. Because we don't just need sleep. We need to know we're not alone. Sleep better after 70. Sometimes peace begins with a pen and a pause. And if you try it tonight, know this. Somewhere out there, others just like you are folding their worries, placing them in a box, and sleeping quietly, with nothing but a soft breath and a warm cup of tea.